Not you. Either कुछ बोल. Hello. Five. Can you speak something right now just to check, confirm one last check.
No, it's still work yesterday with that.
रुक जा.
Can you hear him? Hey, don't. Hey. Srini. He broke.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can start the session, man.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope everybody can hear me now. Hello? Yeah. The front row people, if you can hear me, can you please raise your hand? Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, everybody can hear me. Okay, perfect. Let me give a small introduction about me because once upon a time, right where you people were sitting, I was there just 3.5 years back. So let me give an introduction. My name is Navneeth Krishna. I graduated from Sahyadri College of Engineering with a degree in computer science in 2019. So 2019 July, I came out getting a degree. After that, I joined a small, it's not actually a small company, but I joined a company called ITC Infotech along with a few of other my batchmates, where I worked as a cybersecurity consultant to ITC Infotech India Limited. I worked there for around 2.3 years, and then I changed my company to Bosch Global Software Technologies as senior machine learning engineer. After that, I decided that I had to try to get a master's degree. That is why I have come right now to the University of Texas, Arlington, which is in Texas, Arlington. So I'm currently pursuing my master's in computer science, MS in computer science here in the university. The reason why I wanted to take up this session as a non-technical speaker is because even though I have a quite a what do you call a diverse technical background, I wanted to make sure that my juniors, all of you guys, get an exposure into what the real world feels like. Currently you might be in your first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Some of you might have internship experiences, some of you might have some industry connects, or maybe you might know someone in the IT industry or engineering industry that you might have heard stories about. I'm also here to tell you stories, but I'm also happy to answer a few questions that you might have. So I want this session to be very interactive. what did I do in my undergraduate studies that got me a job? Also, how did it impact me in changing the roles? First year of engineering, I walk into the engineering college. We had a few sessions, icebreaker sessions. I was totally unaware as to how to write a program because I'm from a computer science graduate. Like right now, I took computer science BE. I did not have any idea what computers understand. But then there were really great, I would say, I am using the word great as because they were really great. I got in touch with some of the greatest professors which Sayadri had back then. They told me what to do, when to do, and how to do it. That's why I got into machine learning right in my first year of engineering itself. And then in the second year, there were introduction to my core subjects, wherein I was always focused on solving the problems and how you can solve computer science problems. Then I learned C, Java, C++, Python, many things came in, but I always stuck myself to something called problem solving. The other one is how do you solve it? Suppose, say, you have an idea, you know something, you know programming languages, so 5, 10 programming languages, it's okay, good, you know the syntax. But if you don't know the very basics of how to solve a problem, which is all the computer science or any engineering field it may be, if you don't know how to solve a problem, how to approach a problem, that is of no use. You might know 10 languages, 20 languages, it's of no use. Okay, so your focus as a computer science or as an information science or any engineer should always be to solve your problems. If you are currently in your first year, to reach out, make some friends, make some like-minded groups, and then start analyzing what you're going to study in the future. That will help you a lot. Also, make sure that you know that SOSC exists. Of course, SOSC was a brainchild of a few of my friends and me back when we were in college. We started it in our third year. So SOSC was all about bringing, like-minded people, make it into an open source community wherein we contribute to open source software development, bring in all the clubs together, bring in all the what you call technology-minded people together, and not only be together, solve problems, also propagate the idea of problem solving to the juniors. That's what I did in my engineering days. And then I got a job. So, first year through fourth year, it was all about building the technical skills, aim the problem solving mentality, and then aim for the job. So, ultimately, once you get a degree, what do you want? You want a job, right? So, what gets you a job? You might have all the technical skills. You might know Python, you might know Java, you might know how to do this. You might have solved hundreds of lead code problems, hundreds of HackerRank problems. Yeah, well and good. But now what do? You take all your achievements, you take all your capacity, you take all your technical skills and put it in a 2-page document that is called your resume. Now, most people ask, how do we write resume? What is the content of a resume? See, remember, when you enter a job interview, your resume will be your question paper. They will not ask you anything outside of it. In a person-to-person interview, you will be asked questions directly from your resume. You have to keep that in mind. So your resume, as beautiful as it is, as contentful as it is, you must always remember that your questions will come from your own resume. Suppose, say, you put C as a programming language that you know. Make sure that you know what is C, what is the inner concepts of C, and you will be able to answer a few questions in C. Now, most people ask me, like, even I also faced the same issue after graduating. So, whatever I studied was here, and then whatever the work that I was expected to do was here. So, how do you bridge this gap between your academic understanding and what is expected in the industry? Now, this is a very small gap for a few people. It is a very big gap for a few people. I think Sayadri as a college is doing wonderful jobs as to bridge the gap between industry and academic studies. And also, VTU has changed the syllabus is what I am hoping. After coming to masters here in the US, I'm seeing the difference between how we are taught back in India and how we are taught here in the US. In the US, it's not about you getting a mark or you write a program and then you write an exam and then you qualify. It is everyday work. It is every week work. Every assignment counts to your grade. So you have to keep building the skill. Again, it all comes down to problem solving. Keep building the skills. Technical skills, non-technical skills should go hand in hand. And only then you can face a company interview. Now, why is it important that you join clubs like SOSC? That's one of the focus that I wanted to put. Here in the US, a college or a university is defined by its students and their participation in clubs. We have many clubs. To be frank, there are at least 50 clubs in computer science itself. And how many clubs are there when we study back in India? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe. So your participation in club is entirely different from your academic participation. In academic participation, you go to a professor, you get your doubts cleared, you do the work what he or she says, and then you come back. But when it comes to clubs, you get, along with your friends, you talk with your friends, and then you solve an interesting problem that you feel that it must be solved. How many of you here, by show of hands, have tried lead code or hacker rank? Just give me yeah. Yeah, I can see a few people. Yeah, okay, perfect. That's wonderful. Okay. So how many of you here have actually solved a lead code hard? That is called a hard problem. Anyone? Yeah, even I don't. Yeah, oh, okay, awesome. There is one guy. Okay, even I don't expect you to solve all those problems. And okay, that's fine. Start today. After listening to whatever I'm telling you, either it might be resourceful or not resourceful, start today. Start from your basics, starting from printing a string all the way till solving multi-dimensional something. Start today. If you want to get a job, that's the class there. Now, getting technical skills plus soft skills is another topic that I want to talk. Here we have seen people who try to solve different problems and come up with really complex solutions to some of the most difficult problems there. When I say problems, I'm always speaking from a computer science perspective. I'm not speaking about uh, some other things. You might solve problems, but when we ask a very basic question to a person who has solved it, he will not be able to answer it. Why? Because his basics is not strong. So when you go for a technical interview, get your two things perfect. When I say perfect, you are expected to know few things which you are expected to know. One is data structures, the other thing is algorithms. Da and DAMT is what we call data structures and algorithms is the basic. As a computer science or as an information science graduate, you are expected to know what is it. So how many of you can tell here by show of hands what data structure does a depth first search algorithm use? And any show of your hands, how many of you know it? Anybody? Okay, no problem, no problem. It's looking at the demographics of the audience, no problem. So you should know the in and out of how to solve a problem. That is most important. So once you get that technical skills right, then you have to work on your soft skills. Or you can go hand in hand if you can manage your routine. So how do you develop this soft skills? Soft skills also include how do you convey your ideas to the other person? How do you make it crystal clear what do you want to convey and that the person will not misunderstand whatever you're telling? How much of the resume can you explain thoroughly? Whatever you put in your resume, will you be able to explain in and out? If yes, then you are the winner. If not, okay, there are few skills that you're lacking. Now, get your soft skills right and then build that resume that you want to have. The resume should always be in a way that as soon as I look at the resume, I should get the gist of what I'm looking at. oh, this person XYZ has this many skills, this many things. This is the amount of revenue I can get from you. Whenever you are applying for a job, I'm not looking at a person who will come to the company, then learn the technical skills, and then get a working model. No. What do you do when you get a service? For example, you are signing up to a Gmail account. Do you expect Gmail to build you all the Gmail features after you log in? No, right? You expect all the service as a package. Similarly, the companies are always looking at how much they can get from you, how much they can earn from you. So I started in ITC Infotech as a cybersecurity consultant. That's where my journey began. But my whole skill set was always in machine learning. So if you ask any of the seniors there, they would always know me as a machine learning engineer. My thing was always machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, building models, etc. But when I entered the industry, nobody gave a damn as to what I knew. After I joined, nobody asked me to build a machine learning model, but they had a requirement for cybersecurity. That is why they put me to cybersecurity. They told in 1 or 2 weeks we will train you, we'll get your job done. So when you aim for companies, there are two options. After you get your technical skills, your soft skills right, your resume right, your clubs, activities, publications, all of these right, then you have two options: a product based company, a service based company. In the recent days, when I say recent days, past 1 or 2 years, getting into a product company is not difficult. As don't expect it to be really hard. Again, as I've told you, technical skill is right, your soft skill is right, and your resume is right. You have the what do you call the charm to get into the companies. Getting into a product-based company is not difficult. It is all about how you put yourself in front of them. So you have two choices: get into a product-based company. Product-based companies will take into consideration your skills. Suppose say you get into a product-based company and say, okay, I'm interested in blockchain, I would like to work in blockchain. Product-based companies will most probably choose, okay, this guy knows blockchain, we can profit him out of blockchain, so we'll put him to blockchain. Service-based companies, on the other hand, they don't give even one heed as to what you know. What is the requirement currently? Okay, there is a requirement for Java, they'll put 5 to 10 people in Java. You have to learn to survive once you put into the project already. So usually what happens in companies is, once you get into the company, you will be allotted a project, or if you're not allotted to a project, you'll be put in bench, that is as a hold. When you're in bench, you're expected to upgrade your skills, and then once you get into a project, there will be deliverables. Just like how you have assignments, how you have assignment deadlines, similarly there will be project and project deadlines. Within the project deadline, you have to be able to deliver n lines of code and then also give a reason why you have done it that way. Then there will be many hierarchies that will approve your code, and then it is out of reach currently. Then what happened? An interesting event happened in my life. I was not interested in cybersecurity because cybersecurity was a skill that was not what I wanted to work on. Now, you might have few questions as to, I am interested in Java, but my company has put me in Python. I'm not interested in Python. How do I switch? Remember, once you graduate, to get a job that you desire, that jump is smaller. But once you work for 1 or 2 years in a company in certain technology, before that technology sticks to your profile, you have to make the next jump. It is called a domain change in a company. So it might be a bit advanced for you right now, but please make a note of it, or please keep this thought in the mind. So before you want to, before you want the job to stick to what you call a profile, make the change immediately. Nobody is going to ask you, why did you jump in 6 months? Why did you jump in 1 year? You must do the job that you love. That is why in 2 years, I know it was a bit late, I jumped from cybersecurity to machine learning, which I always wanted to do. Right from my undergraduate studies to my 4th year, I was always in AI, machine learning, deep learning, etc., etc. But I did not get the job, so I went to cybersecurity, and then I made the switch. after working for some time in machine learning, I found out that there are still skills that are lacking and how things are done in a different country. That is why I went for my master's. So in masters is entirely different thing. I think I'll take questions now because I think me telling the stories is it will keep on going forever. So if you have any questions that you want to be get clarified as to how did you face the interviews, etc. By the way, in both the companies that I worked for, I was a technical interviewer. I have interviewed many candidates, even a few candidates that were two levels higher than me because I just wanted to be in the loop and to check the basics. Remember, if you're applying to a much higher or senior position, the person who will be taking your interview might not be as high of a level as you are. They might be from a position less than you, but they will be checking your basic skills. So I'm open to taking any questions from your end. Please let me know.
Anyone has any questions? So Navneeth, this is a. Am I audible without the mic? So,
Navneet, so the question was, what if we do not know our interests right now? What can we do to find our interests? The question was asked by Archer. So you can.
Okay, hi Achal. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question. Yeah, it's what most of us face, especially when we are some people are in first year or some people are in your final years. We don't know what our interests are. If you do not have a specific interest, you are at the point of advantage because you can develop a wide variety of skills at the parallel. How to find your skills would be uh, getting into clubs, getting into problem solving domain. Again, I emphasize on problem solving because it is only when you put yourself into the shoes of the people who are working in the industry, because currently internet is there, you don't have to worry about putting how to put yourself into the shoes of people who are working in the industry. Put yourself into different domains, try it out. You have no restriction. You have a laptop, you have internet connection, you can be doing anything. You can do things that a Googler does. You can do things what a person in Infosys does. It is that easy. So put yourself into the problem solving shoes, and then see what fits you right. If you find a comfort spot, get into it. I hope that answers the question.
Navneet, anyone has any other questions? So the question is, how can a beginner contribute to open source this thing projects? That's the question. And yeah, and what's the difference between an open source contributor and a person who works in remote jobs?
Okay. See, open source software development, I might not be the exact person whom you can ask this question because my contribution is, I'm just a beginner, but let me give you a gist of what is happening. The 90% of the software that is running in the industry right now, it is managed by group of enthusiasts who uh, are interested in solving problems, who want to build something, and who want to put out their work uh, out to the world as an open source software. So it is all about your passion that you want to drive. Suppose, say, you want to build something, and then you want to showcase something that you have built or you are trying to build, put it in open source repository or put it out there. Put your ideas there. You have equal opportunity. It can also be a text file as well that entitles, or I'm sorry, that has a list of your ideas. Put it out there. Then there might be a few people who contribute to that and say, okay, I can do this module, I can do these things, I can do this contribution. A person that differentiates when it comes to open source software contribution is that when you go out to the industry and say, I was an open source contributor for like 3 years, what did you contribute? I've contributed 10 lines of code. To what project? This was my idea, so this was my contribution. So when you say that I have experience in open source software contribution, the interviewer's entire mentality towards you will change like a switch. You know, what is the difference between a normal person who would be applying for the company and say, okay, I have experience contributing to open source software? He already knows that you are capable of handling changes. You are capable of contributing meaningful code. You're capable of contributing meaningful ideas. And you also know how to work as a team. So this is a complete package as an open source contributor. I hope it answers the question. Okay, some of the areas that you can ask question is maybe higher studies as well. I can give you more information on higher studies. What are the things that you can do right now to prepare for your future? Is it too early to think about your future, or maybe it's not? What is my current focus, and how should I change my attitude? What kinds of clubs should I be in? What daily activities that I must do to change my attitude to get that goal, etc., etc. So you can ask many things.
Okay, Navneet, we also have another question here. It's
Yes.
by Divya. It's on what's a piece of advice you would give, and what are the risks you have taken to getting into your college in university in the US?
Okay. See, currently I'm in the US. So most people who are in IT field would always have a dream of being in the US. US. Okay. Yeah, this is a dream. So my piece of advice is whatever that you want to work on, give it your 100%. You might fail, you might succeed. It doesn't matter. But the learning that you take from it has much, much greater value. And never put yourself down in any situation. If you fail, you have learned. You did not fail for your life. You have learned. And use that learning as a stepping stone. Go one step higher. Never put your efforts down, in no matter what the situation is. To get a higher degree, what should be your motivation? You should have either two things. Either you should have the desire to get a higher knowledge, which is entirely different from what you learn in India. Because I'm going to tell you, I've taken the same subject what I took in undergraduate studies, but my entire perspective of that subject has changed. That is the difference. Another thing is you want to make more money. Of course, at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money, but your primary focus again to get that money, get the problem solving capacity right. If you are a person out of 100, you are the one who can solve a problem like this, you're the winner. That's it. It's that simple. Yeah. And guys, those who are feeling that you are a bit shy to ask questions, if you're shy throughout your career, I don't know how your project manager or product manager would feel about you. Be bold. The guys who are bold are at Google or maybe even higher. I don't know. So keep your mouth ready to ask questions whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, Navneeth, the mic here kind of echoes, and that's why you're going around asking for questions into it, so that we don't
Oh,
get.
okay, okay,
Uh,
okay.
so the next question we have is how should someone start as a beginner start with DSA? Uh, I repeat. The next question is how should someone as a beginner start with DSA?
Okay, how to start with your DSA? If you have already started taking that subject called DSA, or if you have already completed DSA, my question comes back to the same thing what I said earlier. Get into HackerRank, get into LeetCode, start solving the problems. So when you start solving the problems, you might solve a few problems that you, without your idea of DSA or algorithms, you might have solved it in certain way. Then look for the solution of that problem and see what approach that person has used. He will give you a detailed explanation as to why he has used this approach and find the parallels between what algorithm he is using and what you have done. So DSA is not textual. It is not something you open a book, you read the book, you write an essay about it, and then you learn it. It is by application. You apply concepts. You apply concepts of, suppose, say you take stack, you take queue, you take queue, stack, apply it. Priority queues, trees, try, all those things. Apply it. Take a problem, apply this concept, and try to solve this. Even people at Google do the same thing. They take the problem, they take this concept, they solve the problem, they are the winners. So start with DSA today by signing yourself to either LeetCode or HackerRank and start solving the problems. That will help you.
Thank you for answering that as well. Another question we had was uh, how much does aptitude play a role in getting placed? Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Right now, in the US, I have a few other roommates who are pursuing their undergraduate studies in computer science, but here in the US. Okay. So once upon a time, I was an undergraduate student there in India. And to get a campus placement, to get a job, I had to maintain a CGPA. And then I had to go through the aptitude test. And then I had to go through the interview. And then I would get an offer. Code, of course, there would be coding rounds and everything. Here, I've talked to these friends who are pursuing undergraduate studies, that means BE, in the US. How do they apply for a job? There is no such thing called campus recruitment here in US. If you come, there will be something called job fairs. In the job fairs, there will be companies who would come to the university. They'll set up a stall and they will be waiting for the resumes. You have to walk in with your best attire. Again, it's a very controversial topic, but clean shaven, and then submit your resume. And then they would look at you, they will talk to you casually, there will be no interview, and if they are really impressed, they would give a job. If there is no job fair, they would apply online, they would go for the interview in person. Because of COVID, it has changed a little bit, but that's another story. And they would get an offer. There is no such thing called aptitude at all. Now, is aptitude a question that is really required? Remember, what I found out after all the getting the job and everything, I realized that the entire purpose of aptitude is not to judge how well you do. It is to just whether we can eliminate you or whether not. So it is like the first barrier in your getting a job. If you can get that aptitude right, you will be able to cross the barrier. There is no any other purpose. Of course, every person, each one of you has good aptitude. Otherwise, you will not be engineers, right? You have that problem solving capacity. But aptitude right now in India, what is happening is it is a barrier. It's a barrier that you have to cross just so that you will not get eliminated. Okay, and then once you pass that barrier, you are free. So get your aptitude skills such so that you can pass it. Who doesn't want to be eligible for a good interview opportunity? So get your aptitude right. It is just so that you are eligible for a job. Yeah, yes.
Should we ask more questions, or do you have anything to continue, like any story, or should we continue with the Q&A?
Okay, I don't have any story. You can ask
Okay,
questions or
fine.
anything is fine. Yeah.
Anyone has any other questions? Okay, so this is an interesting question, Navneeth.
Okay.
After spending lakhs of money in the US, what's the risk of not getting a job?
Okay. Now, this is a very, very interesting question, and I really like that question. Whoever has asked, very good. Okay. This is a very huge risk. But see, there is something called, okay, I'll have to put this out right now because you are all juniors to me. You are all very dear to me. And since SOSC has organized this, I'm going to put it blatantly, very right out. In the US, there are a few factors called of success. Okay. This is what I've realized after coming to the US. And I'm telling it to you right now, in your engineering. Okay. Please make a note of this in your mind very strongly if you are planning for a higher degree. If you want to succeed in the US, either you should have a lot of connections. A connection might be industry connection, friends, family, or someone you know, whomever you're close with. That is number one. Number two, or you should be really, really rich. When I say rich, I'm saying crores rich. Okay. Number three, this is highly unlikely or it's very difficult. You should be really lucky. So if you have either of these three, you are a winner in the US. I'm not speaking about India. Okay. Because in India, you have family, you have friends, and everybody is close by. But here, when you come to the US, you are isolated. You are in your own cocoon. And there is cultural difference. It is very obvious. So after spending lakhs of money, what is the risk that I'm taking? The risk that I'm taking is very huge. But on the other side of the lever is something called my efforts and my self confidence that I can ace it, I can get the job. I have the necessary and sufficient technical skills that I will stand out of all the other people who are applying for the same job, even who are US citizens, even who are Canadian citizens. So much so that they will be able to sponsor my work visa or whatever. There are so many folds to that concept, which I don't want to go into it, how difficult it is. So as much as you know what you know and how much you're capable of standing out of the crowd that is applying for the job, that risk, even though it is very huge, it will all weigh out. So trust yourself and get the skills right. You're the winner. Yeah, thank you for that question. That is a wonderful question. And please keep these three things in mind. Yeah.
Anyone has any other questions? Okay.
That's why you're happy.
Wait, you will ask.
Yeah, guys, feel free because I was just a senior to you. I am not some super, guy.
Okay, Navneet, we have two more questions here.
Okay.
The first one is through which category did you get to US? And that the three categories being luck, connections, or money.
Okay. You can call it the two of them, which is connections and luck. Yeah.
Second
Yeah, that.
question. Yep.
Okay.
The second question I've received is how does someone reduce the time to solve a problem on maybe CodeChef? So for some people it might take maybe 15 minutes, or for the other person it might take um an hour or maybe days. So how does one overcome that?
Okay. Okay. I'll answer both the questions. First question, I'll go back. The part about okay, I had told you two things. One thing, I was lucky, right? Okay, and connections. Connections, I had no problem. But the part about getting lucky, see how the life plays out. In 2019, sorry, in 2000, 19, I had applied to all the universities in the US, 15 universities. I got rejection from all the 15 universities. Okay. And applying to the universities is not a big task. No, sorry, not an easy task. It is a very huge task. In Indian currency wise, I had spent around 2 lakh. Okay, it has exams, it has application fees, it has so many things. In the second year, that is in 2020, I had applied again to another, I think, 8 universities. I got rejection from all of them again. And of course, there was Corona, COVID. So 2 years, in and around 20 rejections, you can call it. I got rejection for the second time. But that idea that I want to do more, I wanted to learn more. So there was always this aim, what we call in life, right? So I had applied again in the US. So, okay. So I thought this was not going to work out because I had failed for 2 times, and many universities had rejected me. There were many things, there were many factors, and they don't even give the reason properly why they reject. So I tried for the third time, persistence. I got in. I got into two of the universities, and in one of the universities, I got like scholarship, which is impossible for an international student to get. They were impressed by my profile, and they gave me a scholarship. So now you have to weigh in your, really, do you want to do it, or you don't want to do it? If you want to give up, okay, give up, no problem. Okay, answering the second question, how a person gets better in solving DSA or maybe coding problems. Remember, nobody gets it right the first time. Nobody gets it right. Nobody gets it right the second time, or maybe even third time, fourth time, fifth time. You can go n times, but there will be the nth time which you will get it right. That is when you solve a problem and you get that thrill out of solving the problem and solving a coding problem. If this n happens m times, I'm thinking all this in mathematical form, but remember, you solved it in n steps and then you solve it m such questions. So when you reach that mth step, you would have already progressed in your technical skills in such a way that as soon as you look at the problem, you know what concepts you're going to use to solve the problem. That is very important. Right now, my machine learning and deep learning skills are in such a way that as soon as I look at the data, I know what model to use, where which data goes, and what is the output and everything. You have to get to that level that as soon as you look at the problem, you know what algorithm you're going to use. You know what data structure you're going to use within the algorithm to solve the problem. That requires only one thing, that is called practice. Nobody is dumb, nobody is smart. Okay, it all comes through practice. So get your practice. Every day you solve one problem, by the end of the year you will stand out of all your classmates who did not solve the problem. Trust me, that is the difference that you're going to make every day. Because once to the power 100 is still 1.001 to the power 100 is a bit more than 1, but it's still a bit more. That makes all the impact. So solve at least one problem a day. You're going to stand out like anything. And then you can have all the nice posters saying that how much is your package. So that comes later. So solve problems every day. Consistency is the key. So be persistent. You will be able to solve the problems.
thank you for answering this question. We have one more
Yes,
question. Uh,
yes.
this question is how to beat procrastination.
Okay. This hits to me very close to my home because right now, what question you are asking, I'm sometimes even asking myself, okay, how to beat procrastination. It is one of the devils that you can have, especially when there are deadlines, okay, especially when there are life goals. A mind of a procrastinator is very interesting. He always aims for local goals, what we call temporary goals or temporary satisfaction. Suppose, say, you are planning to solve one late code problem today, and then suddenly a YouTube video pops up, says, okay, some prank video XYZ. Your mind immediately jumps to that prank video because he or that mind is looking for temporary satisfaction. How do you beat procrastination is every day telling yourself that temporary goals are not the aim of your life. Temporary goals don't lead you anywhere. And if you're looking for long term consequences of that action, you're going to fail. That prank video or that YouTube video is not going to solve any of your problems in the future. Neither is it going to give you money, it is going to give somebody else money. End of the day, it is a job so that you're looking for. A procrastinator must always repeat himself or herself that this is the set of tasks that I'm going to do today, and there is nothing that is going to stop me from doing it today. If you did not do it today, put it as the first priority thing tomorrow. That is called a backlog. This is what we use in agile software development. There is something called a backlog. The backlogs are given priority first. Similarly, everyday tasks, starting from brushing your teeth, starting from waking up in the morning, whatever task you do today, I'm going to attend, data structure class. After that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the library. Prioritize your tasks. Is it really necessary? Is it really essential that you do? Because remember, you might think that the 4 years is huge. It flies like this. And by the moment you know, you are ready for a job. And if you don't have a job, it is another big headache. So prioritize your tasks, do the tasks, even though it might not have a temporary goal or immediate satisfaction. Do it. In the long term, you will see improvement. So that's what I did. So I think that gave me good results.
Yes, thank you, Navneet, for this. This question really does hit close to the heart. Uh, anyone has any other questions? Yes, so Navneet, this is
Yeah.
also another question. Uh, from your talk, we know that you are very passionate and driven towards programming.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So wait.
Uh, huh.
So do you have any other passion that you pursue or hobbies that you pursue on the side, or any other tasks that is driven towards programming, or have you ever interconnected these two together so that you can help these both in another way?
Okay. So, guys, throughout my talk, I've been speaking about problem solving, coding, programming, that, this, and everything. Okay. That was the focus because the program is devhost. Okay. But let us explore the other side of what you can do. You never let go of your hobbies just for the sake of getting your life goals and say, okay, once I turn 30, I'll do this. Once I get a job, I'll start doing my bucket list and everything. or probably once I'm 35, I'll go explore the world. No, no, no. That's not how it works. By the time you feel that you are settled down, you're already 60. That's how fast the world is moving. Okay. And you cannot even move a muscle because you're already old. Never let go of your hobbies that you really want to pursue. Okay. This is what we call bread and butter. It can also be your passion. Programming can also be your passion. Program can also be your bread and butter. Basically, you are here right now because you are all engineers. That is why bread and butter is first. Then comes your hobbies. My hobby, I have a few hobbies. One is photography, which I do quite extensively. Then I also do voice acting. So these are a few hobbies that I have. How do I interconnect with coding? Is I would like to keep them distinct because some great person there has told change of work is rest. So I always keep my hobbies distinct from what all these coding things that I have. Of course, when I look at photography, the immediate thing that comes into my mind is deep learning concept that would analyze the image and then give the output as to what is there in the image, etc., etc. How would I code it? That is happening in the background. But as much as possible, keep your hobbies distinct from programming or coding or maybe problem solving or anything, because that will give you a break from the routine. So you suppose a person says, my out of 24 hours, I'm 12 hours, I'm solving only lead code. I would admit him to a mental hospital because that's not how world works. It's a balance. So find the balance, what gives you bread, what gives you butter, or whatever they call it. And another thing that gives you a break. So break and bread go hand in hand. Okay, so find hobbies that will make it distinct. I hope it helps.
That was well answered. Another question we have is how important and how would you recommend GATE, and what are the tips for GATE exams if you have?
Okay. Uh, I have taken GRE, but I have not taken GATE. So I'm not the right person to ask about GATE. I know about GRE, IELTS, and TOEFL. GATE, I'm not the right person to ask. So I'm really sorry about that.
That's fine. Any other last words would you'd like to tell the participants
Okay.
here?
Yeah. So if you so since we have come to the conclusion, you all of you guys are free. Feel free to connect me through LinkedIn. So I might be able to help you in one or the other way. Ping me through LinkedIn, no problem. But remember, your life is not decided by something that has happened in your life or something that's going to do. Sometimes we do all the right things. Sometimes we take all the right decisions, but still fail. That is the hardest that you can face. When I got my first rejection from all the universities, my what do we call sanity, you can say, went down. I was so heartbroken. But there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a tunnel. In your life, if you're feeling very difficult, that you feel that you'll not be able to move forward, remember there is always your friends and family that you can look into. There is always there was always light in the end of the tunnel. Plan, move, and leave the rest to the person who is sitting above all of us. If you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. So there are a few things that are under your control. There are a few things that aren't under your control. As much as possible, give your efforts to whatever you want to do. Put your 100% to whatever you want to do. And whatever is the outcome, it may be in your hand, it may not be in your hand. Accept it as the way it is. Again, I'm coming back to the same thing. If you fail, you learn. If you succeed, it's a win. So I think by this, I can conclude. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, I think I'm done. So all the best to all of you, each one of you. I hope you will get a great success in life or a great learning from life. Thank you.
I Navneeth. I would request to say like 5 minutes. We'll take a group photo with you in the background, so that will be cool. Yeah. Uh, just
Perfect.
give me a minute, right?